Today, we will continue learning about steps in a technical procedure or procedural text. We'll be using the text chocolate treat. Let's first watch this video on steps in a technical procedure.
Today you'll learn about reading procedural or how-to text to complete actions in our everyday life. When we read procedural or how-to text, we must follow multi-step directions. This means we will read many steps to help us understand how to do something. Sometimes, when we read the steps, it helps to have pictures to help us understand exactly what to do. In nonfiction text, these pictures are called text features. Text features might be pictures, drawings, diagrams, maps, timelines, or any visual aid to help us understand. Procedural or how-to text may look like a list, directions, rules for a game, a recipe, pamphlet or trifold, or a manual on how to create or build something. The information will be written in a sequence or logical order. Let's try it. Let's imagine you received a gift. We all love getting gifts, right? When you open your gift, you discover a Lego kit. Right away, you decide you want to build a Lego man, but how? In the box, you discover a set of directions with pictures to help you make the best ever Lego guy. This is an example of procedural text. As you read the how-to manual, you must follow multi-step directions. First, locate the head of the Lego man. Next, locate the body. You will need to find 2 arms and 2 legs. Now that you have all of the pieces, match up the head with the top of the body. The arms must be attached on either side of the body, and finally, the legs will be added to the bottom of the body. Voila! You've created a Lego man using procedural text. Remember, procedural text is a kind of writing that gives the reader information. When reading procedural text, the reader must follow multi-step directions and use the pictures or other text evidence to help complete the task. Now go read some procedural text.
What is a procedural text? From the video, it talked about how it tells us how to do something step by step. We learned this anchor chart yesterday that parts of a procedural text is what you need, the materials, what to do, the directions, and some examples of procedural text were cookbooks, how-to manuals or videos, maps with directions, or science experiments. We're going to read the passage called The Chocolate Treat. While reading it, I want you to think about these questions. Number 1, what is the first step in making brownies? Number 2, what would happen if this first step was left out? A chocolate treat. Brownies are a very yummy snack to make, and they can also be quite fun to bake. When making brownies, get ready to make a mess because before they are delicious squares of chocolate, they are a wet and sticky liquid. In order to make brownies, someone will need all of the ingredients. Most basic brownies will require brownie mix, eggs, oil, as well as a square or rectangular pan to bake them in. So what is the first step in making brownies? Let's figure that out. The baker will need to follow the recipe on the brownie box or the recipe card to measure out each of the ingredients. A person cannot just dump random amounts of the ingredients into a bowl. So what is the first step? Following all of the measurements. You're going to need to make sure you measure all of the ingredients correctly. That would be the first step in making brownies. The measurements have to be perfect or the brownies will not bake correctly or taste very good. After the ingredients are all measured and stirred together, the person needs to make sure there are no big clumps in the batter. Then they will pour the batter into the large pan. This batter will take the shape of the pan since it is a liquid. What would happen if this first step was left out? What would happen if the first step was left out? Well, it says the measurements have to be perfect or the brownies will not be baked correctly or taste very good. So if measurements aren't put in correctly with the brownie mix, then the brownies will not turn out. The next questions, what would someone do if they did not have all of the ingredients? And explain the difference between uncooked and cooked brownies. These questions you'll be answering in the Google form, so listen carefully while we read the rest of the text. The next step is to allow the brownies to cook for the amount of time that is on the recipe. If they are cooked too little, they will be raw, and if they are cooked too long, they will burn and be hard to eat. When the brownies are finished, the baker will need to check to make sure they're finished. If they stick a toothpick in the brownies and the toothpick comes out clean, that means they are fully cooked. Then the baker will let them cool before cutting them into small pieces for people to enjoy. So what would happen? What would someone do if they did not have all of the ingredients? What could someone do if they don't have all of the ingredients? Where might they go? If they don't have all the ingredients, they could go to the store. What are some stores that you go to? Do you go to Walmart? Do you go to Food Lion? Do you go to Aldi's? These are places that you could go to get the ingredients for the recipe. What is the difference between uncooked and cooked brownies? Well, if a baker sticks a toothpick in the brownies and the toothpick comes out clean, that means that the brownies are fully cooked. Then the baker will let them cool before cutting into them to making them into smaller pieces. So if they stick a toothpick in the brownies and the toothpick comes out clean, that means that the brownies are fully cooked. If they stick it in there and it comes out and it's not, and it has brownie mix on them, then they know that they need to cook it for a longer amount of time. Go ahead now into Shobi and you will be answering questions 4 and 5 independently.